This week on the Push Pull Legs podcast, we talk about obesity. All right, 3, 2, 1. How to solve a problem like obesity, Dan?
Hey guys, welcome to the Push Pull Legs podcast with myself, Damik.
And me, Tom Hall. What's going on, bud?
I'm good, thanks, mate. I'm just sipping on a drink. You know the San Pellegrino cans that you used to have, you know, like the lemon ones, used to have the foil top on. They've reduced the sugar in them now, so per can, there's only like 70 calories in now. So like, I thought, give them a go again.
That's pretty good, yeah. They're okay. I find them a little bit too bitter.
Yeah, they're not too sweet. That's why I quite like them, because they're quite they're quite nice like that. So I've got the orange and pomegranate, which was very, very nice, and then the lemon and mint. I wouldn't get that one again. I just go lemon. I just go straight lemon.
Lemon and mint.
Yeah, I just went for a gamble, didn't I?
It's interesting. I've got a glass of just a little lemon cordial.
Not a fan of lemon cordial. Fizzy lemon,
not mine.
Yes,
no.
but
Chloe
flat lemon.
bought it because she was interested to see what it tasted like, and it currently is the only one that's in the house. So yeah, it's not great. It's like that double strength stuff, and it's like, and I overkilled it, like not thinking it. You kind of think it's strong, but not that strong. But it's not actually double strength, more like 1.5 times the strength. But yeah, I poured it way too strong. So I've got to get to about halfway, and then I'll probably just keep sipping it throughout the show and being like, my face is going to be more bitter as we go through. But yeah, what's going on in the world? Busy man, Daniel Meek, moved house.
Moved house, didn't I, over the weekend? Yeah, busy. It was actually right.
Bowler moved into his mansion. He's now on the Crescent. Everybody, he's on the Crescent. If you want to know where Dan lives, on the Crescent in Bath. He owns one of those 5-story looking over the.
God, can you imagine?
Wish.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? But no, all settled in now. Feels quite good, to be fair. Which is nice. But yeah, no, it's one of those things where it was nice to move out of the little flat we were in a bigger house and stuff. So yeah, no, it's been good. It's just settled in nicely, and got loads of work to crack on with now, you know. That's it, standard. But no, all is well. I think because we threw away a lot of stuff, we actually moved in quite. It kind of feels like we settled in quite quickly because we haven't got loads of stuff here, and we moved into like a part furnished sort of house. So it's quite nice. But yeah, we're only here for a little short while, and then hopefully we're going to buy somewhere soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, before the old stamp duty holiday thing finishes. But
yeah, because obviously you were victim of probably the COVID house moving things.
Yeah, not so much. It was actually it kind of prompted us to think more about it. But a few things were going on that we were thinking about or came up, and then where we were going to buy and move to, we weren't 100% sure on the area, and we thought actually let's just hang fire a little bit and wait. So we did, but yeah, no, we'll see what happens. Like I say, come New Year, we'll probably be looking at somewhere hopefully. But for now, it is good. We're in just a new build, so it's quite nice and warm, and like it feels quite cozy. And they're always, the thing about new builds is they're actually like, I hate using this word, functional, but they're kind of like designed like obviously for like living. Whereas I know that sounds daft, but older houses obviously were designed to look good maybe or whatever, but inside new houses they always have like purpose built. You can see how they're built, and they're made for ease of use and all that sort of stuff, which is quite good. So like moving all the furniture in was a piece of piss because all the staircases are wide enough, big enough, they're like built for that sort of thing. So yeah.
Did you hear that? All the staircases, he has more than one.
No, I only have one.
Oh right, all the staircases.
I meant like it's in new builds in general.
It's in my house. Was like I walk through the door and I've got it goes off to the wing to the left. That's what you meant.
Yeah.
Mate, I've lived with that penthouse joke for about 3 years, so yeah, nothing. Now I'm on the 8th floor.
Wow.
8th, mate.
Check you out.
Moved. I've gone from the 5th to the 8th. Only 3 more floors. Oh, yeah, in this building anyway.
You are close to the penthouse there, mate. That's you all over, isn't it?
Close to the penthouse.
You love a penthouse. You do.
See, the 8th floor is actually quite cool because I don't know. Some people find it a little bit off to like look down. Don't really like being this high. I quite like it. It's good. You can lean over the balcony and see most of London. So, which is good.
Cool. It's decent. Good, but I can't see much of Bath. I could just see Lansdowne. Basically, like where we've moved to is like basically in Bath's like at the bottom of like it's in a valley, and we basically moved to the top of the hill. Basically, just moved up out of Bath to the top of the hill, and like straight over the road from the estate is like a really nice hill, so you can walk Frankie in. Like he loves it over there, so it's like doggy walk heaven over there. So it's quite nice from that point of view.
And you got a new puppy inbound, right?
2 weeks, yeah, 2 weeks and 2 and a bit weeks, yeah. So it's kind of like we were looking at going away on holiday. We were like, oh, it'd be nice to get away, even just somewhere in the UK or whatever. And then we're like, oh no, we can't. Got dogs, so obviously like puppy has to stay in because we're getting her at 8 weeks as well. So we're gonna have to stay in for 6 weeks. It'll be because it's 14 weeks once they've had their jabs that they can go out and about.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna have a fun few weeks training. And of course, we've got cream carpets in the house. Of course, we have. Why wouldn't we have cream carpets? Why wouldn't we? So like we're downstairs, we've got like the wooden floor bit. So we're gonna have to just like keep her in that bit the whole time.
We got little Jasper, little cockapoo, my flatmate, and he got him during COVID. So in this flat, brand new kind of nice whitish grey carpets in our flat. And where did he take his first shit? My bedroom, on the carpet. Wonderful. Of course he did. Have a little wander. Wanted to have a look, didn't he? Yeah, love it. I was like,
I take my first shit.
Clearing. I was like, I've cleaned up 2 of his poos, I think. But yeah, lovely little dog. We're thinking about getting a dog now. Have to. Need one. You just kind of like clutch onto one once it's around. But yeah, slippery slope, mate. So we've got stuff to talk about, I guess. There's 3 things on my list. Down loans of 1, 2. Yeah, we'll be fine.
Well, I feel like I contribute to the podcast today because I text you today. I was like, "We're going to talk about this tonight." You're like, "Okay."
Yeah? Oh wow.
Doesn't need to happen, does it?
It's like, well, I guess the first thing we can say is I PT'd in a gym today. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Note that obviously we're almost in August, which is prime time for going away. Normally, I would book a holiday around about now because August is the most, along with December, August and December, the deadest month for personal training. And equally the deadest month for gyms. So apparently it was quite busy on the Saturday, which obviously was the first day. But today, I PT'd at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So nice easy times. And yeah, I was the only one training anybody in the gym, and there was one other person training at one time, and they were a trainer in the whole gym. So yeah, it was interesting. I'm assuming that's not the same for a lot of the gyms. Obviously we have a slightly higher, I guess our member has a slightly higher income, but yeah, very strange. And we've got reduced hours in some of our clubs, but it is nice to see that everything's set out correctly. People wiping down stuff. Well, of the 2 or 3 people I saw, they were wiping stuff down. I followed all the rules. I'm not allowed to give any clients the weights. I was like, I do this anyway, so I just make them go get their own weights. That's fine, and they can wipe them down. I'm like, yep. I'm gonna sit here on my iPad. My iPad is telling me you have to do this now. Okay, wonderful. Let's do that. So it was quite nice though. It brought back like the, I don't know, little training coaching environment. You can definitely, that environmental factor of pushing somebody like that is definitely there, especially because you've got like the equipment that you can quickly change up, or it's not like adjustable weights where you have to go there, adjust and run back, but it's just like, all right, throw that weight, go get it. It was nice. Nice.
Yeah, I went back to the gym and I've been twice already this week, and I have to say I did enjoy it, and I also feel as if when we were going to move, we were talking of getting a home gym or a gym in a garage, and I actually think I'm not going to now. If I had time again, I don't think I'd plan. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure, but just the feeling of being at a gym, it was like actually it was quite nice. having something to plan like a bit your day around, all that sort of stuff, but also like you said there, the equipment available and all that sort of stuff. It was quite nice to have that block of being like, right, that's where I'm going, that's what I'm doing today at that time point. Like, whereas if you had a home gym, it'd be like, oh, I'll do it later, or I'll do it half an hour now, half an hour later, or whatever. You know, you'd use an excuse to not do it. Much like over lockdown, I didn't really do anything at all. You know, it was like, it'd be the same thing, I think. So yeah, it was quite good. And obviously at the moment, because you have to book in, you kind of feel a bit like compelled to go because you booked in, and I don't want to like waste a slot. And I know that the gym's not gonna be packed out at the times that I go, but it's still like you made that appointment, and it's like, oh, actually, probably should, you know, adhere to it. So it's been quite good. It's good to get hold of a barbell again. Like I think, like I said today, I went and squatted with 70 kilos, a couple of sets, RDL'd 70 kilos, a couple of sets, leg pressed like 80 kilos for a couple of sets, and then just like did like some hamstring curls on a Swiss ball, and then just got out, and I was like, that's what I'm going to do, and taking it very, very easy on the way back in.
It's a weird feeling, isn't it? Because obviously I was sore for quite a few days, but it's kind of like, you know, you can do more, but you also know that you're like, I shouldn't.
And also as well, you put the weight on the bar, and like in your head, you know, you should be able to do more, but it's really heavy still. It still feels really heavy, even though you know you can do the movement. Like I was doing all the squatting fine, but it still felt, I was like, hang on a minute, like this is tough. But I knew my body would be able to do it. Do you know, it's just a weird feeling. But yeah, no, I'm glad to be back in there. I just hope it doesn't have to flipping close again. But we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, it could 24 hours it takes to make a decision. Just you're not going to Spain. No more Spain. Thanks.
Man, I know people have booked holidays and all sorts. Like, oh.
Yeah, I do feel sorry for them, but then I kind of like.
I think if you booked a holiday, you took the gamble. My opinion.
You took the gamble, yeah. I'm just like you realised how quickly stuff is changing, and they're like, oh, it's like the complaints I've seen online. It's like, what? Like, they don't have a plan. They don't have anything. It's like, yeah, because this has never happened before. So coming up with a plan that's going to be foolproof is pretty hard. So I'm just like, they're obviously doing the best they can. Yeah, they will make mistakes because that's going to happen to every single government. Not everybody's going to nail it perfectly. Some people are doing better than others.
Yeah, I just.
And Boris is a bumbling buffoon anyway, so that's fine. I mean,
yeah. Well, according to all the PTs in the world, he is. Yeah.
Apparently. He is. Yeah. I mean, well,
Jesus.
So should we? I mean, that moves us smoothly onto the obesity news. It come out yesterday. So obviously Boris is a large man. A larger man. I'm assuming he ranks obese on the BMI scale.
I think that's why it's kind of come about, because I think it hit him. I think that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would. I'm assuming, and he's come out and said, doesn't he? I've seen the video of him saying because he was overweight, that's why he suffered, and had to be in intensive care.
Yeah.
And then, so this is. Obviously, we're saying this is not new news that there is an obesity epidemic happening, and it's something like. But there's been like sanctions all I think as long as we've been alive, right? So I think the biggest one, the first one was like in the year 2000 when like school meals started to change and stuff, and then there was like 2008 something else changed, in 2012 something else changed.
I've got them written down here. Basically, the first time that they announced a white paper on the topic was 1997.
Okay.
In 2008, there was a report aimed at improving diets, increasing exercise, and personalised help to tackle the problem. And then 2018 was the last intervention, which was the sugar tax.
Sugar tax, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's important that we preface this with the same things that we've said probably before talking about obesity. Number one, it's a multifaceted issue that we still don't really understand 100%. It is not just eat less food, it's their choice kind of thing. Like, just cut back on food kind of thing. Like, obviously, if that would work, that'd be great. But it's obviously not that. There's obviously other mental things at play, but also socioeconomic factors as well, right? There's that. But another thing as well that I've heard as well is the BMI thing. It's like, no, BMI is still a good, crude, non-invasive method of measuring people. Like, that's fine. It's only us in fitness that it doesn't really apply to because of more muscle and that sort of stuff, right? That's it. And then thirdly is that we're not saying we know how to fix this problem. It's just, this is just, like I said, opinion based on what we've seen people talking about and people's strong views and all that sort of stuff. But I as well have to, I suppose, present my own personal bias, which is that I'm very, very biased towards personal responsibility. Like I'm very much a believer of you're in charge of your life. Like very much that's my bias, and I appreciate that. And I will not I very rarely look to other people for handouts and that sort of shit and for extra help. It's all on you, in my opinion. But that's my bias, so I'd put that out there now, because I think that does sometimes come into some of the things that I say in my opinions, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And it might also come across in some of the things that I think about when it comes to the obesity. But I'm sure Tom will probably stop me if at any point I go on too much. But one of the things, one of the things that's really annoyed me is seeing PTs talk about this and saying, "Oh, you just need to educate people. They don't need to go on Slimming World. They don't need to go on Weight Watch. They don't need to be told to go on the bike. They just need to be educated." Right. A few things with this. Number one, people have got to want to be educated. That's number one. Like, you've got to want to learn half the time. Otherwise, it's fucking pointless, right? But these are also the same PTs who talk about and preach about flexible dieting and having everything you want in moderation, and that there's no reason to cut out foods or cut back on foods, whatever. I'm sorry, but people don't want to hear that. And that's what these people think they're doing. People who are overweight, who are gaining weight, think that they're eating everything in moderation. They think they just have a little bit of cake. They think they just have a little bit of this, a little bit of that, right? And the whole thing about educating people, it really annoys me, because it's like, yeah, they had the whole thing of eat 5 portions of fruit and veg. Now, that's been a thing ever since, like you said, we've been probably at school, I think. In fact, I've got it here. Where is it? I've got it written down. When did they introduce that? I think it was 2008. Here we go.
Right.
The 5-a-day slogan became government policy in 2003.
Okay.
Right? So in 2003, right? So since then, the proportion of adults eating 5 portions of fruit and vegetables a day has increased from 24% to 28%. Probably, as percentages go, it's probably a fair amount considering the amount of people there are in the country. On average, adults ate 3.7 portions of fruit and veg, compared with 3.4 in 2003. However, the proportion eating fewer than 2 a day has remained roughly the same at 27%. Now, that is the kind of education that I give my clients. Eat more fruit and veg. And it's the same education that PTs give their clients as well, the people that are talking about this. But that's clearly not worked. Number one, that's not worked, obviously, because if that had worked, then people wouldn't have been gaining weight. And then you've got...
But I guess as a percentage thing, if the person that was eating, let's say the 5-a-day, is only eating 1 fruit, and that's what if they've gone from 2 to 3, they're not hitting their actual target, or they've stayed under the 3 or the 2 threshold, but they've gone from 1 to 2, like 50% of the time, half the week. I'd count that as a little bit of a win, because you're talking about mass change. Like,
and like I think people like know that. People know that. You speak to most people, they know they should be eating 5 portions of fruit and veg a day. Like it's everywhere. People know that. And again, it's people know that they probably shouldn't eat too much red meat. I think that's, again, it's been played on so much. The sugar tax, another one that came in 2018. That's not helped. Obesity still climbed since 2018. It's not helped whatsoever. Not helped, right? So obviously what they've tried to do up to this point isn't working, right? And my biggest problem with all of this is that I think people know what they should and shouldn't be doing. You ask any primary school kids, and you was to say to them, on this side of the wall, I want you to put loads of foods that you shouldn't eat much of, and on this side of the wall, I want you to put loads of foods that you should eat a lot of. I would hazard a guess that over 3/4 of them would get majority of the foods right. They put pizza, chocolate, sweets, chips, crisps on the side they shouldn't eat much of, and they know they should be eating more vegetables and more fruits. Like, I think they would know that. personally, again, I could be completely off the mark, but I think people know that. And the biggest problem is that like calorie labels are on foods. People know. People, again, all these PTs saying, "Oh, you educate people about calories." The numbers of calories are on foods. There's also rough guidelines on those food packets of men eating 2,500 and females eating 2,000, which is ridiculous advice on a global level just to give someone and say, "Repeat that." But I tell you what, if people stuck to that, there'd be no one walking around obese right now. Because that's not enough calories. It's not enough calories to get anyone obese. So even if they didn't eat any protein, they just ate carbs and fats, but they ate that many calories, they would know. Now, again, it's written on these packets. What else can people do? Like they've put it on there. National Nutritional Guidelines, RDAs, whatever it is, for male and females. It's there in black and white on every single packet of food you buy. Every single packet of food. Okay, so how are you going to educate people? Like what more can you do than that? At schools, educate them on this sort of stuff. But then you start getting into the whole realm of, oh, there's no such thing as a good food or a bad food. You don't need to label food. Okay, so how are you going to educate them at school then? Okay, back to the thing of moderation, have this in moderation, whatever it is. And it just baffles me that like PTs are slagging off the government, because in my opinion, it's not the government's fault and it's not their thing to fix. All the government do is take the funding from taxes to fund the NHS and distribute it where it needs to be distributed, right? And right now, we're in a position where the NHS is being strained, right? Because of this. Now, it's not the government's job to educate people on how to lose weight. It's up to the people. Like, it's up to me and you. Take personal responsibility to go, I need to do something about this. Like, this isn't great. I'm not feeling great. I've been told I'm not very well. But I think another problem is that telling someone that they're at increased risk of heart disease, of stroke, of cancer, whatever it is that hard hitting enough? Like, because people have been told that for years. People have been told that the risks of obesity for years, but people still keep getting fatter. And I think it's because it's not actually something that's affecting them here and now. It's not something that they can turn around and go, oh, I understand that. I get that. That's a tangible thing that I can understand. Don't get me wrong. A certain percentage do. A certain percentage do something about it, obviously. But there's obviously a large percentage that aren't getting the message that obesity is a bad thing. Because if they were and they understood that, then they wouldn't be gaining weight. They would think that they'd do something about it. I think it's because they sit there in a doctor's office and the doctor goes, well, look, you're at increased risk of cancer, of stroke, of all this sort of stuff. And they sit there and go, okay, yeah, but you said that 3 years ago and I'm still fine. That's why. That is why, because it's something that might happen. It's something that could happen. And I don't know what more the government can do. Because in my opinion, it's all there in black and white. Like, you go and speak to anyone in the street, and I would hazard a guess that 90% of them would know that eating too much junk food is bad for them. And I think 90% of them would know that people get fat because they eat too much. And I think 90% of them would know that to lose weight, you just have to eat less food. Like, as a global thing, that's what I think. If you ask most people, that's what they would say. Most people, though, the problem is when you say to them, how do you need to lose weight? They go, oh, well, I tried that. But when you say to them, how do the other people, not you, the other people who are fat, what do they need to do? They need to eat less. What do you need to do? Oh, my metabolism's slow. No, my metabolism. So again, it's like they're not taking that personal responsibility for the issue. But when it comes to other people who they don't know and they're just random strangers, that's, oh yeah, they eat too much. They need to eat less, or they need to move around, or whatever it is. I get quite passionate about it because I am not saying I know how to fix this and I know the answer, because I actually genuinely don't believe it's about calories and food. It's clearly a socioeconomic thing because, again, looking at the data, the prevalence of childhood obesity is higher in areas that are more deprived than those that aren't. That's a fact, and that's also because of how cheap, more like junk food, shall we say, is, but also the shelf life of that food, the fact it's frozen, the fact it's tinned, the fact it's whatever, right? All those other things come into it. They're huge factors. So that's something, again, you can't just say, oh yeah, educate the parents. Well, what if they genuinely can't afford to buy as much fresh fruit and veg as other families can? Like, that becomes a socioeconomic issue. Then it becomes the government's issue. Then it becomes something for them to do about it, which they tried to do with the sugar tax. But again, it obviously hasn't worked because they introduced that in 2018 and obesity levels have still risen. So for one, well, we know it's not sugar anyway, it's a problem, but I don't actually have a problem with sugar tax as a general rule. But that's what would happen if that was going to work. That would have helped. And I understand that the whole point of raising that tax was to then put the funds into helping it into the future, right? I get all that sort of stuff, but I don't think this is like a fixable thing. I genuinely think it's too far gone. Like, genuinely, like, this isn't about food now. This is about the fact that the fact that fast food and convenience food is so readily available. The fact that our home environments are set up for us to just constantly eat. It's nothing to do with adverts on TV. It's nothing to do with junk food adverts on TV. It's to do with the fact that everywhere you walk, there is somewhere selling food for you to eat, and it's readily available, and it always tastes pretty good. And like, I don't want to get into the whole argument about like willpower and everyone's got a choice and, you know, all that sort of stuff. But there has to come a point where, like with Slimming World and Weight Watchers and stuff like that, like that's the other argument about them. I get that they're not good for everyone. But if someone's 150 kilos, for example, and they're that obese that their life depends on it, I don't care if they are being told to have free foods and have as much pasta and potatoes as they want. Because quite frankly, if they eat as much of that as they like, they're going to lose weight. They're going to at that size. And at those sorts of places, they do put an emphasis on limiting junk food and eating more vegetables. So like, as a very like obvious choice, like that's going to work for a large proportion of people. Yes, not for the people who have been stung by it in the past or have issues with their weight and they have issues with the scales. And we're not talking about them. These are people who need help drastically. Like people that are probably going to be thinking about going under gastric band surgery and all this sort of stuff, right? They're that extreme level that these PTs, in my opinion, just don't deal with these people on a daily basis. So their opinion is based around the people that they work with. And like, oh, BMI is not a useful measure of weight. No, it's not for my clients. No, it never will be. But I'm also smart enough to know that for the population of the world, it's actually a pretty good measure. Actually, it is. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to write an email about it on Friday, so I don't want to go into too much into it. No, not too much, no. But I feel that there's no consequence. That's my thing. I don't feel that there's a consequence to these people not losing weight. There's no consequence because they can't fathom in their head the health issues. Like it's not something that they have to deal with in the present moment. So they don't.
Because if you think about it, yeah. Obviously, what sparked this, and Boris has listened to the people around him who are clearly intelligent. But he knows he's got a trainer. He's had a trainer for a while, but hasn't taken it seriously, obviously, because he's still been a fairly large man for most of the time. But since he's come out and said this, and he needs to do something about his weight, it's because he was in intensive
on his deathbed. He was literally going to die.
So
and it's like, that's what it takes them to realise.
That's what it's taken for him to realise. Whether he does it is also another thing. It's maybe he's like, oh, I've had it now. I'm all right. I'm through the other side. I was obviously healthy enough, and I'm going to be bailed out. And that's obviously a sad thing to say, but is that the consequence? Obviously, this is incredibly personal. So everybody else has got their certain different degrees of how it's going to affect them, and I'm this fat because. Whereas, say me and Dan are very similar. When we start to feel a little bit like ugh, or like fat in the mirror, or think, we just bring it back a little bit, and we're like, all right, well, I need to eat some veg today because I've had 2 days of eating burgers. That's our limit. Whereas the limit for apparently Boris was almost dying from COVID. Obviously, that's a lot of other factors, but that's how gluttonous maybe it could have been.
I think it's one of those where, again, with him, like he just had a kid as well, right? I think that combined with that
that's a big one. So
that's a huge one for a lot of people.
Speaking as like from the experience of, I've had a couple of, well, let's say a client that I shared with your other half, right, Paul Matty. So he had a kid, and he came to me after Laura left, and I started training him. He had a kid, and we lost about 12 kilos over the year. Because he had a child, and he knew he was on the rounder side of 50. So yeah, and that was what changed. He was like, shit, I need to do something about my lifestyle because I want to see this kid by the time, like, I want to be around when he's 20 years old.
The thing is, it's such a hard thing to talk about, and like the reason as well, like I want to put across like something that's personal to me, so that people can understand that I'm not just saying this as someone who's sitting here like all high and mighty, but like my dad had a kidney transplant 8 years ago. Even before I started Third Space, he had a kidney transplant, and he was always told that a risk factor for that kidney failing is being overweight or obese. And he's constantly told when he goes in there, you're overweight, you eat, you're too heavy, you're too heavy. He had to lose weight to have the surgery. They wouldn't even let him have the surgery because he had to lose weight. So I don't want people sitting there thinking, oh, it's all right for Dan that he's never been affected by it, because I'm affected by it every single week that my dad gains weight and he puts strain on his kidney. And he still sometimes says to me, like, oh, I've not really done exercise this week. And I'm like, you can fucking die. Like, what the fuck? Like, go on a bike, do something. I'm an online coach. Like, it's my job. I know this stuff, and my dad still isn't in that place where he's accepted enough to go, I should probably do something about it, because the food tastes too good and the exercise is too hard, right? I've seen it with my own eyes. Like, I love him to bits, right? But it's only when he hits a certain weight that he goes, shit, probably using it right. And it's usually the weight that he was at pre-surgery when they wouldn't do the surgery on him because he was too heavy. It's usually when he gets that number, he goes, oh, actually, probably should cut back a bit, and he has to cut back. And for me, it's like, it's hard seeing that, but then it's also why I feel that I know that being told that you're at that risk doesn't change someone, because it's something for future them to worry about or whatever.
It seems to be, and it also seems to be so we look at, like, it's not an economic thing, because obviously people have been hit by the tax, so hit you in the wallet, that hasn't really changed. The two things, that's health, so hitting you can't make people more sick to make them react. But on a personal level, it seems to be that's how you got, in terms of, like, if it's affecting your child or your family member or a friend or something like that, that's tends to be how it seems to change. It's like how smoking's changed as well, but I feel like smoking's gotten down. But we need to.
So the problem with that, right, is like with the smoking, the tax was so high that it did actually hit them. Sugar tax or whatever doesn't hit anyone. Doesn't hit people. You could even tax junk food. Wouldn't hit people. Wouldn't be that painful for them. I genuinely think, like, again, this is a pie in the sky idea. It's never ever in a million years going to happen. Again, I'm all for the NHS. I'm all for free healthcare, everything like that. But in my opinion, if someone is being treated for an obesity or a smoking related illness, and they are given a target to hit within 6 months, 12 months, and they are shown to show no effort to get that, I think they should be charged for that treatment. I think if you said to someone who's losing weight, you said, look, in 6 months' time, if you haven't lost a stone or shown effort and whatever towards getting that, you're going to pay for the 6 months treatment. It's going to cost you 10 grand. I bet you more people would lose weight over that 6 months than if you just said to them, in 6 months, you're going to be at an increased risk of heart disease. Because no one wants to lose 10 grand. Let's say you said 10 grand. Let's say you said in 6 months' time, if you lose a stone, right, treatment's free. Or if you show even effort, if you show that you've learned to cook vegetables, you've shown that you can eat some vegetables, you've shown whatever it is, right, some willing, then you get it for free. Of course you do, 100%. Take the tax money. I'll happily pay people. It's the people that go in there, having watched, these obesity programs and stuff, that go, I didn't bother, didn't want to try. I'm like, well then, I'm sorry, but you don't get any more help then, like, because at some point you have to try or make that effort. And I think if you said to someone it's going to cost you 10 grand, that hits them. That they can visibly feel that, like, tangible thing of going, shit, like, that would hurt them. I don't know. Like, it's a stupid idea. It's never going to happen. But I think people can that like I said, it's tangible. It's a bit more real to them than just going, you're probably at increased risk of dying. That is literally, by this date, if you haven't put this effort in or seen some sort of progress, it's going to cost you this much money. They might do something about it, but it's never going to happen. But I don't know. Something's got to change, though. Like,
yeah. I mean, the changes that obviously have been put forward, if everybody hasn't, I'm sure people have realised it now, but like the watershed. So watershed moment, because it's like, it was 7 o'clock, wasn't it, for fast food and stuff now, but now it's going to be pushed to 9 p.m. Which I guess, if people have bedtimes.
But But again, it shows how out of touch. So TV, it shows how out of touch he is, though, because kids people don't watch TV.
Watch TV.
They watch YouTube. Isabel watches YouTube on an iPad. She doesn't watch TV.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Then there's this on campaign attachments on a mission to make it easier. Diet choices. There are healthier diet choices. They don't magically appear when you're an adult. It's a case of having them and making it viable. That's the only thing. Which is a shame. So there was the bike thing. GPs urging people to get back on their bike. They're never on their bike. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so large. Which is cool. Like, absolutely. Because this is the thing, right? And people saying that, they're just, why have they taken so long to do anything? You just said the first thing any UK government was starting to do in 1993. They've been trying to do it for 27 years. So it started having the general population have listened. And also, the people were saying like, it's just to get out. They're realising it now. I was like, correct. I was like, what better time than a global pandemic seriously kills people if they're overweight? A better time is it to change? We've always said negativity elicits change. I was like, this is the most negative in our lifetime the world's going to be, but stuff come out of it. You can't tell me that Black Lives Matter would have happened if pandemic. It's like, I feel like all that kind of stuff rose up because of that. Obviously, the video and the videos of all people rallying together, no, they might have been at work, so that's happened. And then the environmental factors, people getting, it's gone up again. They've chuck in like billions of pounds into change, and it's up to something like 15% of the roads will be made for bikes now instead of cars. That's huge. 9 million people. 15% of those roads are going to bikes instead of cars. That's big. So what better time? It's like a free hit in my opinion. It's a free hit to change the environment. It's a free hit to change some of the kind of the racial stuff. It's a free hit to try and change obesity, because people are going to listen because bad shit. If we say good shit happened because of this, we might be alright. So I don't understand why it's like a hard time. It is. They're trying to make it simple as well. That's the thing. Simple might work. Might be like, you can eat, like you were saying, like, you can, flexible diet, and you can eat whatever you like, but it's in moderation. It's like, we can. Okay, to that degree, or we know what we're doing, and our limit isn't as like high as theirs. So it's just black and white. We both work with clients that we have to paint it black and white. The interesting, GG's doing one at the moment where he's just doing meal replacements for 30 days. So Gordon, and he's lost like 3 kilos in a month, but he hasn't tracked any calories, anything. He's had 2 meal replacement shakes a day, and then anything like a decent dinner, and he's lost. It's interesting how he was just like, well, that changed. It just seemed to change a bad relationship with food, but maybe it's something drastic like that. Like, actually, everybody's done it. How else do you want to do it? Is it going to be like a dictatorship where we take people's food and we have to ration them? Like, that's the other option. It's like, we have to let the general public make their own decisions.
But that's the thing with the whole education thing, is like I said to you, is people have to want to be educated, and I think people don't want to be told to eat less junk food because they like it.
We live in a free choice. That's the thing. That's why we live here. So, and taxes are just a thing so we can live in this country. If you don't like living in this country, don't live here.
I just think as well, like with the lockdown have it pretty good. With the lockdown stuff, it's kind of the reason I think they're trying to tackle it now as well is because people are paying attention now, because people are watching. Everyone's paying more attention to the news and they're online more and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of, like you said, a free hit with that. But also with lockdown, like, comes back to the other point I made at the start, which is about, like, the convenience food's available for us everywhere we go, that sort of stuff. Food's delivered to our house now, all that sort of stuff. But a lot of people maybe have put on weight over lockdown because it's a boredom thing. People just eat when they're bored. They don't really have a concept of like eating for like life or for fuel in your body. It's just I want that food, I'm going to eat it. And I do that. We all do it. We all have a burger when we fancy a burger or a pizza. Like you said, we just have a better idea of how that fits into our week than the majority of people do. And I just think it's, I hate to say it, but I don't see it ever improving. I genuinely don't.
I think it's so hard.
I don't see obesity ever being in my lifetime something that is ever going to improve. Genuinely, I don't.
Well, on that note, mate.
Yeah.
Should we stop talking about obesity there? We've gone on for about 40 minutes. So.
Yeah, I just ran it off on it, to be fair, but
but I'm sure it's going to resonate with a lot of people because they can use advice, use it with your clients and that kind of thing. Okay?
Like I said, I don't want it to come across like I think I know the answers. I don't. I'm not saying I know the answers, but I'm also not daft enough to pretend that I know more than the government and the government know fuck all. I wouldn't like. It's just like you're not in a position to say that. Like they're the ones that are trying to do their best. Like that's all they can do, and you know they're responsible for millions of people. You know. So PT with 400 followers, it's like, come on, like, I don't know.
We're responsible to, what have I got, 15, 20 clients? You've got, more than that. So, right, we're responsible. But not everybody's going to be able to afford one of us. So that's the thing. And there's a lot of shit in every industry. So, well, no, because there's something we promised we would talk from last week. Yeah, so let's go through these combinations, mate, because I put it up on my stories last week, and we got quite a few, so we can veto them. Okay?
Go on then.
All right, we've got cinnamon and bun. It's not a combination. That's just a thing.
It's just a thing.
We had PB&J, so peanut butter jelly. Wonderful. Yeah. Obviously, this was before I put this up before the podcast came out. Porridge and golden syrup.
No, that's a poor shout.
Poor shout?
That's not even no.
That's not a normal one, is it? Like remember, this was underrated combos, or was it? Yeah, just the best combos, underrated combos, strongest combos of all time. Yeah, they're not underrated at all. It's porridge and golden syrup. It's not a strongest combo of all time. All right, honey and mustard.
Yes, good shout.
Pretty good shout. Cheese and crackers.
Good shout.
Good shout. Wine and anything.
No.
This was the first of these. Tom and Dan.
Oh, that's cringe.
Jesus Christ. Tequila and lime.
No.
Yeah, not speaking to you for that. Also, cheese and beans.
Nah, not a classic combo.
But it's not a classic combo.
Yeah, it's nice. But...
All right. So figs and honey.
I mean, again, it's not classic, is it?
Yeah, it's not a classic. Also,
very middle class dessert, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fuck it
I'll tell that to some. This is where I started going back on some of these as well, because one of the person I was like, you can't have one of the ingredients in two combos. Therefore, it's not its strongest combo. You can't just like make two combos. So figs and honey and mustard. Pick the combo honey and mustard. I was like, honey and mustard is clearly the stronger combo than figs and honey. So that's the strongest for honey. You can't have another one which is equally as strong, I don't think, because there's always going to be a weak link to that. All right, chips and curry sauce.
No, come on.
Like
we're talking like salt and vinegar, cheese and onion. Like we're talking like classics here, not just like whatever you fancy that day.
All right, mac and cheese.
I mean, if you're American, maybe.
Yeah, we've got another vote for cheese and crackers. Chocolate and peanut butter. But this is the thing: is that it's not as good as like peanut butter jelly or peanut jam. So the stronger combination is peanut butter and jelly, not chocolate. We said so cookies and cream.
Again, if you're American, but it's not a big thing over here.
It's not massive, is it? And then swiftly followed by same person putting this through is strawberries and cream. So I was like, all right, well, what's the stronger combination? Probably strawberries and cream, not cookies and cream. I'd rather have cookies and milk.
True.
So the cream, the stronger combo is strawberries. Gin and tonic.
Probably that's probably the only. It's probably the only one you're going to use those two with, isn't it?
Yeah. Champagne and strawberries.
No.
I got very middle class followers, haven't I?
I was about to say, yeah.
Also, I think we established that strawberries and cream was a combo. Bread and butter.
I mean,
come on. We're not trying, are we? Eggs and bacon.
Better.
That's better, I think. We have milk and cookies. Fine. Ketchup and fries.
I'd have mayo over ketchup with chips.
Yeah, we've been through this. That's just wrong. Wine and cheese. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Champagne and caviar. Brilliant.
Fucking hell, Tom. Seriously, who do you follow you? Your fucking clients following you or what? Jesus.
I'll give you one guess who that is.
I don't know.
She's one of your clients as well. Scones and cream.
No, because that's the three things that you have with that.
Three things, isn't it? That's a triplet. No. That's a different conversation. Coffee and milk.
Oh my God, who's written that? B8.
Crazy. Ice cream and bananas. Banana splits, I guess. That's a weird one. That was my mum, to be fair. So that was awful. Yeah. And then the second time, this sad with the same laughing emoji, Tom and Dan.
Yeah. That's the worst one of the lot.
That's the rest of them. Jesus Christ. I thought some of them were quite funny, but again, I think the rules were that you can't have a combo, like one ingredient can't have two combinations because they're not as strong as each other. So it's the strongest one.
Yeah, you can't have chocolate and peanut butter when you got peanut butter and jelly. It's peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, and I think PB and J is that like the strongest combination known to man. But yeah, then you got to think like crisps. Yeah, is it salt and vinegar or salt and pepper?
Salt and vinegar.
Yeah, because that's for crisps. But in food, it's like, all right, add some salt and pepper.
Yeah, but chips, salt and vinegar.
Okay, fine. I can't stand vinegar, mate. So, but I like salt and vinegar crisps. Interesting. But yeah, I think PB and J is the ranking best combo. Okay, but following on from that scone chat, we got to do triplets clearly, because that's like, is it eggs, chips, and beans, that kind of thing? Bacon. That's then it's like.
Well, that'd be bacon, eggs, and avocado, wouldn't it? That'd be that three.
Yeah, I mean, nobody went for avocado and toast. I mean,
no.
That was the next middle class suggestion that was coming through. So yeah. All right, mate. Should we end there? Let's end there. He had about half an hour of chatting obesity. Yeah. I've lost weight, ironically, from listening to you. It was so long.
I just feel that again, my bias is on personal responsibility and all that sort of jazz or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know how to fix it, how to help, but I just think it's, like I said, just to sum up, but like, again, the education stuff, it's like the stuff's on packets. People know roughly what calories it should be on, in my opinion. Like, it's there.
And yeah, they're gonna put up in alcohol. So, I mean, it's just good.
Again, and they put it on menus. They put it on menus, they put it on restaurants. I just don't think people care. I genuinely don't think they care. I've been to many a social event where people just, that's
a lie.
Well, it's the weekend.
I've been to many social events.
Yeah. Yeah. But everyone's heard it, like, I shouldn't be having this, but oh well. It's people know. People know. People aren't stupid. People aren't stupid. They fucking know. And like I said, it's not on the government to fix the problem, in my opinion. It's not. It's on us. It's on us to fix it.
They've made it as easy as possible. They can make it as easy as possible. These schemes and blah, blah, blah. But it still takes somebody
because each individual person needs a different thing. Some of my clients might come from like an ED background, they need a completely different level of education. So the whole thing of like, oh yeah, educate people. Well, no, because some of my clients just need a little bit of education and a lot bit more support. Some of them need loads of education. Some of them need no education. They just need accountability. And some of these people who are obese might just need some accountability. They might just need some guidance, some support. It's not, it might even be about education. It could just be someone putting their arm around them going, look, it's okay, we'll help you through it, whatever.
Yeah.
But the government have to give out blanket advice because they're dealing with tens of millions of people. Do you know, like, what? They can't go round every single person and, oh, for you this. Like, they can't give personal advice. They can't do it. So it's not on them. It's not on them. Anyway, let's not, because I'll carry on. We've done that.
Yeah. Any other news?
Not from me, no.
If you're struggling with that obesity stuff, then you should have been in.
But likewise, if anyone's
biceps and banter blitz, I mean, you missed it.
Yeah. But if anyone's got, like, no, genuinely though, if anyone has thoughts on what I've said or what, like, genuinely, I'm open to hearing stuff. Like, I genuinely, like I said, I don't claim to have the answer. I do not know. I'm not pretending to. So if anyone, like I say, feel free if you want to ask a question or put a point of view across, and I'll talk about it and maybe on Instagram tomorrow or whatever. But because genuinely, like, I think the more we talk about it, much like all the other issues we've had going on over lockdown, the more we talk about it, the more we can actually help. Like, genuinely. Like I said, my demographic, I don't really deal with too many like obese people. Like, it's different demographic.
I mean,
so
I
don't know.
Overweight, yeah, for sure. People who want to lose a little bit of weight, but I tend to do more rehab performance-based stuff. So it's the nuances that I don't deal with.
There could be someone listening who deals with obese people on a day-to-day basis, and they might have a different viewpoint, which I'd love to hear. Like I said, I don't claim to know. Much like all the other online coaches that they're giving all their opinion, like, but they're slagging off the government and slagging off all this sort of stuff. And again, it's like, well, the answer isn't #flexible diet, unfortunately. It's just not. It's just not the answer.
Just type in #flexible diet and just follow everybody on there. All right.
Educate yourself. Just go #flexible dieting. Educate yourself. Come on.
All right. Fucking hell. All right, mate. We will catch you next week.